This is Robert F. Smith. He's not only the richest black person in tech history, but his family is one of the richest black families in the world with a net worth of $9.6 billion. And that's all thanks to this company right here, Vista Equity Partners. But most people have never even heard of it. So how did they do it? Well, let me tell you, this story starts way before Vista though, back when Robert was just a young guy who was trying to make it. He studied chemical engineering in college, and after he graduated, he got a job as an engineer at Goodyear, but this wasn't very exciting. So after a few years, he switched over to Kraft where he became a computer systems analyst. But again, this wasn't very exciting either. So Robert decided to try out Silicon Valley. He applied to a bunch of companies and eventually landed a job at an electronics company called National Semiconductor. But the job didn't really interest him, so he spent most of his time after work learning how to code. After about a year and a half, he left National Semiconductor and took a job at a small database software company called IDGE. Here he met some guys named Larry Ellison and Bob Miner, and they would go on to play a huge role in Robert's future. In 1984, Robert was able to use the skills he learned while coding after work to land a job at a company called VAX. They specialized in database management, and this was much more interesting than anything Robert had worked on before. But there was a big problem. The CEO kept turning down offers from bigger companies that wanted to buy VAX. He was adamant on keeping VAX independent, but unfortunately, this meant that VAX was never able to grow. And as a result, the company's value stayed low, which was frustrating for Robert since he felt like VAX could be worth so much more if it were under different management. So in 1987, Robert, Larry, and Bob would team up to buy VAX. Robert contributed $2 million, while Larry and Bob each chipped in $1 million together. They managed to convince the CEO to sell VAX to them, but this came at a price. The outgoing CEO stuck around as chairman, and he made it clear that he still believed VAX should be run independently, but this didn't bother Robert at all. He knew that with time he'd prove the CEO wrong, so Robert changed the company's name to Vista and expanding the company, adding new clients and improving their software. But after a while, Robert realized that managing a massive software company like Finastra was becoming too much to handle. So in 2000, he brought in some outside help. Enter Michael Dell. Michael was the founder of Dell Computers, and he was looking for new business opportunities. So he agreed to partner with Robert. Together, they would own 90% of Finastra, but then the dot-com bubble burst and Finastra lost 90% of its value. Despite this, Robert and Michael stayed committed to growing Finastra, and their hard work would pay off. The company would end up becoming the largest provider of lending software in the US. It was now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But Robert didn't want to just sell Finastra to another big tech company. He wanted to build a platform that would empower other software model for the entire black community. Looking back, Robert's journey is nothing short of remarkable. He went from being an engineer at Goodyear to becoming the richest black person in tech history. His story shows that enterprise software may not be as flashy as consumer apps, but it's a huge industry with a lot of potential. Robert saw this potential and he took advantage of it. He built one of the most successful enterprise software platforms in the world, and he's helped countless software companies grow. And to think it all started with a small database software company called VAX. Robert's story is a reminder that big opportunities often come from unexpected places. And the year is 2018, and Robert Smith just dropped some major knowledge. He stepped down as CEO of Vista Equity Partners, pocketing a cool $2 billion. But wait, it gets real interesting. His fashionista who's shaking up the style game. These folks aren't just rich, they're changing the world. But the story doesn't end there. Robert Smith is on a mission to rewrite history. You see, for years, the tech world has been dominated by a select few, mostly white guys. But Smith is changing that narrative. He's all about diversity and inclusion. He's opening doors for underrepresented folks, especially black